Changes in higher education system being brought under the National Education Policy 2020. So first of all, we need to understand the various issues that higher education system has been facing so far, and those issues have been addressed under the recent National Education Policy. So first of the major issue is poor learning quality, lot of substandard colleges and affiliated colleges that are there, suboptimal level of governance, and then you have issues related to poor undergraduating mass. So to address all these, what has come up is a concept where higher education institutions would be further subclassified under three heads. Those would be research intensive universities, teaching universities, and autonomous degree granting colleges. Now research intensive universities would solely focus on research as a primary objective. As of now, India contributes only 0.6% of the GDP to research. However, countries like South Korea contribute nearly 4.2%. So there is a significant gap that is seen in our research and development. So focusing research has been one of the key aspects. The next is teaching universities, which would have a major focus on teaching along with research as a secondary focus. And the last is autonomous degree granting colleges. These would be the affiliated colleges to the major universities that would be there. All the universities that would be there would have a minimum of 3,000 students as of now. So all smaller units which have 100 students, 200 students, 1000 students would be combined under single HEI, that is a higher educational institution. So that is again very important. The idea is by 2030 we achieve nearly 50% gross enrollment ratio under higher education. So institutions with lesser number of students would be combined under one. So as of now, the major takeaway is good reputed universities would be those which would survive, and a number of substandard universities and colleges that are there would slowly and gradually be wiped off out of the system. The next is mergers under higher education institutions. So as we said, there would be merger of universities with lesser number of candidates, and it's believed by 2040 all the higher educational institutions would be multidisciplinary in nature. That means there would be a very fine integration of arts, sciences and commerce or humanities, and this whole idea is, as of now, there is lot of theoretical input that is being learned across all these dimensions, but to bring them into a practical applicative aspect, it is required that there is a proper integration. Also, open distance learning would be enhanced. Lot of programs would be offered offline as well as online, and again the maximum cap to the number of colleges being associated to the university would be determined, and it is believed by 2025 it would not be more than 300 colleges that would be affiliated with one university. So the number of colleges that could be affiliated with one university or with the university would be maximum 300, and slowly and gradually all of these would have autonomous degree granting courses. So they would slowly and gradually be trying to try to self-sustain themselves and would be self-financing in nature. Also, all kind of deemed to be universities, affiliated universities, technical universities or unitary universities would be known only as university. So that would be a common thing that would occur. So any kind of affiliations related to these would be slowly and gradually wiped off, and there would be single term university that would be used. Now, if we look on to Banbhat's Kadambari, we would see that there were 64 disciplines that were given during that time. And what we are trying to imbibe under the present day scenario is India has a rich culture of higher education from universities like Nalanda and Takshila. Now, if we talk about global universities, we are striving to have a position in top 100 universities of the globe. So our mission is to integrate more courses, be it liberal arts, be it the indigenous languages, be it the languages which have not been recognized under the separate schedules in the constitution, and then focus on the local art, culture and indigenous development. So there has been a national mission on development of Pali Prakrit Persian. Along with that, a translation system where we would have all the foreign work or all the indigenous work could be translated into other languages. So that is again very, very important. Similar to the Ivy League universities, you would have MERUs that would be established. These would be multidisciplinary education and research units that would come up, and as we said, there would be a deep coincidence of, or a kind of interaction of, humanities, sciences and commerce or arts that would be seen. The next is providing flexible curriculum. Now this is something that is very, very important. The undergraduate program would be 3 years or 4 years. Now student would have an option of multiple entry and exit points. So let's say a student covers just for 1 year, he would be granted a diploma. If he covers for 2 years, he would be granted advanced diploma. For 3 years, there would be bachelor's. For 4 years, there would be a integrated bachelor's course that would be given, and then you would have a 4-year bachelor's program with research. Now either for masters, a student can do a 3 years bachelor's plus 2 years of masters, or a 4 years of bachelor's followed by 1 year of masters, or an integrated 5-year course which could be a BA, MA or a BTech, MTech course that would be taken into account. So this would be an integrated 5-year course. The idea is to combine all of the studies within the 5-year duration. MPhil would be totally removed and discontinued. No more MPhil would be taken into account, and students applying for PhD program can either apply after a master's degree or a 4-year BA bachelor's degree with research. So 4 years of bachelor's degree with research are also eligible to apply for a direct PhD program. That means there would be a sudden jump into the number of people entering into the PhD programs. So that is again very, very important. The competition during this period would be significantly higher. Again, there would be academic credit bank. So this academic credit bank would be the bank where all your credits would be stored, and if you are leaving after 1 year, you would be granted diploma, and as we said, for 2 years advanced diploma and so on. So that is one of the major aspects. Then you would have flexibilities in opting the course within discipline, across discipline, and as we said, the bachelor's, master's and integrated programs would be under a different head. Globalization of university is another very important aspect that has been covered. Now under globalization of universities, what is proposed is institutions from India would be allowed to operate outside India, and top 100 universities from outside, if they wish, they can have their presence in India. Also the CBCS, that is the choice based credit system, which we have covered in our separate lecture, has been taken into consideration, and there has been a lot of flexibility in the CBCS system that would be provided. A new world-class model for universities would be laid down, and these higher education institutions would be available at least one in each district. So that is the idea of taking the education, higher education forward to each and every district of India. And then you would also have the model modification colleges that would be there. These model modification colleges would be world-class model institutions or colleges that would be established. India is again trying to become a Vishwaguru in education system, as it had been during the times of Nalanda and Takshila, and we are trying to have a greater global presence with more students flowing in. Now definitely when we are talking about autonomy to higher education systems, the fees structure would increase. To check that, you have scholarships that would be given to all the students, and this scholarship would be significant. The private higher institutions would have a scholarship ranging from somewhere around 100% to 25% of the cost for at least half of the students they are enrolling in. And then from the financially weaker section of the society, the scholarship would be given through a single portal, which would be the National Scholarship Portal, and this portal would take care of all your education expenses including the lodging, boarding, tuition fees and so on. So that is again a very integrate aspect of your higher education system to ensure that there is not a significant dropout after grade 12th. This scholarship portal would be a significant mark. Then next is, when we are talking about this education system in higher education, we need to take into account that academics is inclusive. You have curriculum which is much more inclusive, much more flexible and much more creative oriented. So thinking out of the box is something that would be encouraged. Disciple friendly, wheelchair accessible education system and facilities and infrastructure would be provided. Along with this, digital learning would be included as a part of the curriculum. You would have lot of courses as part of Swayam and Swayam Prabha that have already been provided. So just go and check more lecture on Swayam Prabha and NEAT, that is the National Educational Alliance for Technology. So NEET, as it is called as, are important concepts that government has tried to incorporate under the National Education Policy 2020. We would be discussing many more concepts related to teacher education and professional education in separate lectures. So stay tuned for many more updates from our side. Have a wonderful day ahead.